Okay, welcome back to the Engineered Angler. Today I just want to do a quick video on how to use powder paint. This is from ProTech. It's a hot pink color, number 06. The reason I bought this and the reason I do this is not because I can't get colored jigs. Obviously I can. I mean, I've got a bunch here, some of my favorite colors. The bright chartreuse or yellows and the pinks. I really like these pinks. The pinks really tend to work well in the stained water around here for some reason. Either that or it's a myth that I've bought into. Anyway, they're hard to find because I guess all the other anglers in the area have done the same thing. So essentially what I've done is I've taken, and I'll show you how I do it, I'm taking a jig head that I really like, taking that, and I've powder coated it, or coated it with this powder paint. So let's give it a shot. So I'm going to go ahead and do this one. I really like this jig head. I like the sort of a pumpkin shape to it. It's got a decent keeper on it. It's not great, but it does okay. I like the bend in it. It tends to drop down and kind of hold the tail of the jig up. I really like it. This is a deep water one. I don't like this color, but it's a good ½ ounce, and it'll get out there and get down to the bottom when I'm fishing a channel, which I don't do very often, but I wanted to do this. This is one I already have done and I was fishing with, and this, if you've never seen this is a 5-inch fluke tail, which is now a fluke tail gulp, which is now a gulp jerky. And this is what happens when you leave it sitting in there. It just becomes super hard. I had to cut it off with a razor, but you can see it just turns into like this hard rubber, and it's pretty nasty smelling. That goes in the garbage. But this one has served its time. It's done a pretty good job. It's starting to rust a little bit. It's a little dull, so it's going out of service pretty soon. So let me show you what you're gonna need. You'll need the paint, the powder paint, of course, and I'll show you what that looks like. I had the fan on, so I have to be a little careful. It doesn't blow all over the place, but you can see it's super fine. So be careful. It sticks onto the to the lead just by static electricity, so you don't need to do much. You're gonna need a heat gun. I've got some clear coat here. This is actually automotive clear coat, designed to go over paint on a car, and it's ready to spray, so it's pretty thin. And some your eyes of choice, or you can draw them in if you want to. I'm going to use these red ones that I never use on anything. So let's give it a shot, folks. So as usual, I like to start off cleaning off my work with a little bit of alcohol, a little bit of the patina that the lead gets. So that should do it. So now it's as simple as this. Now you got to have something to hold on to this with. Two things when you're doing this: that you got to get it really good and hot, and the other thing is everything else gets hot around it. So whatever you grab it with, make sure it can take the heat, and because it will get hot enough that it'll burn you, and always by surprise. I'm telling you from experience. So I tend to hurt myself in everything I do. Just mildly, thank goodness. That should do. Okay, so I'll have to rely on my left hand. So the thing to do is, I like to heat this thing up just a little bit, then dip it, and then heat it again. Seems to work a little better, so I'm going to go ahead and heat it up. Be careful not to blow into it. So let's cover it. So I'm going to go ahead and do this on camera. And this is really hot. So we're going to get it nice and hot here. That should be enough. It's nice and toasty. I'm going to go ahead and dip it down in there. I like to get it. There you go. Okay, knock off any excess. And now, the magic, right? You heat it up and it'll go glossy. And I'll let you watch this. You can see it start to gloss over. Don't overdo it, because you will ruin it. That's pretty cool. So that's pretty good for me. I mean, you can do another coat you can see it's not really popping yet. So we'll let it cool a little bit. I'll give it another dip, but let's work the other one then. Okay, gonna clean it as well. Go ahead and heat this thing up and see what happens. If the paint starts to bubble, I'll have to rethink this. Yeah. It is bubbling. You can see it bubbled up a little bit. But that's okay. I'm going to go ahead and wipe it off again. If I can settle that down. I'm not really worrying about the texture. I just want it to be pink. So let's go ahead and dip. I'm not sure you can see what I'm doing here, but there's just a ton of excess on it. There we go. That does it. Alright. Let's heat it up. That's a fail right there. But you know what? It's not that bad. And I'll probably use it. I'll put an eye on that, and I'll use that. It's not hot. Actually, it is hot. Don't know it. Alright. So let's give this another dip. The reason I dip it in gloss clear is to protect the eyes. Otherwise, you don't have to dip it at all. You can just go from here straight to the end of your line. Okay. And that's it. That's how you do it. This is probably, yep, it's hot. So, as you can see, it's nice and shiny. That's what it used to look like. Okay. So you can see the gloss. And even with all the sort of uneven surface on the lead, it still gives you a nice gloss. It's a pretty cool product. They have a ton of colors. It's the only color I bought. I think they run around $6 or $7 for an ounce of this, and you can see it goes a long way. You don't put much on it. I spill very little. Sometimes I spill a lot more, but now I just want to make sure it's cooling off. And it is. So the next step is to go ahead and throw an eye on this thing. You know, I'm going to use my second pair of hands here. And just put this. You can do to these. Most painters or most lure makers have these. They're really inexpensive. You can buy them at Harbor Freight. They're really meant for soldering, but they work really well for this kind of thing. Okay. So at this point, sometimes you got to use your hands. There we go. I'll give it a nice squeeze, about the same spot on each side. So while they're still semi-stuck and they don't start peeling themselves off, I'm going to go ahead and dip them. And you can see this is just a clear. It's just a clear lacquer coat. I really like the way this is coming out, so I'm going to give it another quick dip. Okay, set that right there. Alright, now the ugly duckling one, probably could have, wiped it down with acetone and taken all that paint off real easily, but just a quick demonstration. No worries. I'm going to go ahead and put these eyes on. This will not go to waste. I will end up using this thing, believe it or not. Not too bad for a catastrophe. Alright, see, looks a little sad. Not the prettiest thing in the world, but you know what? gonna do the job. And that gloss really adds a little bit of life to it. I can't believe that. That's alright. That's gonna actually work. You can see. We'll hang that up. And that's how you do it. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope this helps somebody.